Let us move on to question number 4 now. At a certain airport, 20% of people take longer than an hour to check in. A new computer system is installed, and it is claimed that this will reduce the time to check in. It is decided to accept the claim if, from a random sample of 22 people, the number taking longer than an hour to check in is either 0 or 1. Calculate the significance level of the test. State the probability that a type 1 error occurs. Calculate the probability that a type 2 error occurs if the probability that a person takes longer than an hour to check in is now 0.09. Okay, so this question, let X represent the number of people taking longer than 1 hour. Okay, so if we have X represented as the variable, then we know that X has a binomial, X follows a binomial distribution where where the number of trials is 22 and the probability is 0.20. Now, in order to find the significance level, we are given to find the probability of X less than or equals to 1. Okay, so in this case, if you want to find the probability X less than or equals to 1, what you have is this one here. So this is nothing but a binomial formula. Okay, binomial distributions formula. So less than 1 means we have to add up two probabilities, right? So, okay, so let me just do it here. Px is less than or equals to 1 means Px equals to 0 plus probability X equals to 1. Okay, so then Px equals to 0 is just this. According to the formula, we say that this is R because n is already given to this notation here. So if you calculate this, you get 0.0479. Okay, so if you look at the significance level or the probability that X less than or equals to 1, it simply means that this is our rejection region, right? Rejection of the null hypothesis region, because it is claimed that the time to check in has reduced. So we say that the null hypothesis is rejected if this claim is true, which means the time has reduced and there is enough evidence for it. So in that situation, then the rejection of the null hypothesis is just probability of rejection of the null hypothesis is just the region of a significance level, right? If you write it in percentage, this becomes this. So because rejection region is the significance level, we say that, and convert it into percentage, we say that the significance level is 4.80. Okay, now for the second question, we're asked, state the probability for the type 1 error to occur. So probability of type 1 error is simply the rejection of null hypothesis given the null hypothesis is true. So probability that the null hypothesis is rejected is simply the significance level, right? So that's why the probability of type 1 error is also the significance level. So we can write that is 0.0480. Now the other thing is, the third question says, find the probability of type 2 error. Now in the type 2 error, we are assuming that the probability has changed. We know that probability of type 2 error is basically saying that we are accepting the null hypothesis given that the null hypothesis is false. Now false with respect to the initial null hypothesis that we are saying means that it has changed. So if the null hypothesis has changed, what's the probability that we are accepting the null hypothesis? So the probability that the rejection was less than or equals to 1, so which means the probability of acceptance is probability x greater than 1, given the probability is this. Now again, this is a straightforward solution. So in order to find px greater than 1, by using this as the probability given, success probability, we say that this is simply 1 minus px is less than or equals to 1. Now again, using the calculator, you see that this value gives 0.398 and your final answer is 0.602. So then this is your final answer. Okay, so now let's move on to next question.